Hey everyone, welcome to the Cyberman Show. Today I'm going to do a recap on all the critical things that happened in cyber in March 2024. Now, every day cyber sees tons of things, and it's not possible to cover everything. But there are certain things that are worth noting, and as I'm going to do a summary of all these things, so that includes incidents, any thing related on AI from cybersecurity perspective, regulations, new things done by government agencies, how nation states are doing, whether they are getting targeted or if they are involved in cyber attacks, vulnerabilities worth noting, TTPs that I've read about, and any other news in the tech industry. So let's get started with the incident side. Ransomware being the most common category of incidents today. So I'm sure if that you have heard of the Change Healthcare attack that happened earlier in March, late Feb 2024. Um, so Change Healthcare has confirmed that the uh, Black Cat group is behind the ransomware attack, and this group was also seen in the high-profile attack against the MGM resorts in 2023. And what this group did specifically to change healthcare is that in on their leak site they claimed that they have stolen 6 terabyte of data, but eventually they removed that post. Now, Change Healthcare software serves as an intermediary between pharma and insurance companies, and it has impacted the entire supply chain across US. Uh, so this company is also, or their software is also used by US military to fill prescriptions, which means any clinics that use Change Healthcare software are impacted, which is a large portion. Okay, and numerous hospitals, doctors, and pharma companies have also notified HHS, which is US Department of Health and Human Services, who's tracking this incident, that there is a potential cash flow concern uh, stemming from an ability to submit claims and receive payments. Now, this is critical. Okay. By the way, Change Healthcare is part of the United Health Group. So, the investigation is still on. HHS is coordinating between various agencies as per news websites. Uh, in a second incident, a group called INC Ransom claimed that they have terabytes of data exfiltrated from few organizations of the Scottish healthcare system, and they did publish some of the data samples on their extortion website as uh, incident or as sample. Sorry. Similar incident happened with Medibank, a business in Australia, and where these hackers were looking to extort this business, and they have information related to patient, and eventually they started publishing sensitive healthcare claims data for around 480,000 individuals, including information about drug addiction treatments and abortion. So this was terrible. Okay. Another incident, a ransomware group called Ricida claims to have made $3.4 million after attacking a children's hospital in Chicago. uh, they listed this hospital on the darknet extortion site uh, and they also attempted to sell the data stolen from this institution for 60 bitcoins, which is roughly around $3.4 million. And later they updated that all the data has been sold. So this data can be used by various cyber criminals to attack the patients directly or sell this data further. Also, in terms of software supply chain attacks, the popular PyPy site for developers was temporarily blocked for new project creation as well as new user registration for about 10 hours due to ongoing malware upload campaign. Now, this was a multi-stage attack, and the malicious payload aimed to steal crypto wallets, sensitive data from browsers like cookies, extension data, etc., and also various credentials. Secondly, Red Hat released an urgent security alert warning that two versions of their very popular data compression library called XZUtils, also previously known as Lisma Utils, they have been backdoored with malicious uh, code designed to allow unauthorized access. So this is the new norm: software supply chain attacks, where cyber criminals, instead of attacking the organizations, they're going after the software supply chain. Now, I keep hearing about zero trust most with most of the people I work with. Unfortunately, nobody talks about zero trust on the software side. Uh, a large percentage of software companies use open source software. Okay, and that's why cyber criminals are going after that. Lastly, on the incident side, Microsoft has confirmed that a Russia-based threat actor called as Midnight Blizzard, also known as APD29 or Cozy Bear, has managed to gain access to their source code repository, some of them, and their internal systems following a hack that came to light in Jan 2024. The investigation is still on, and the uh, company also mentioned that the threat actor is attempting to leverage the different types of secret it found, including those that were shared between customers and Microsoft in email. Now, it is still not clear what source code was accessed, which product and was involved, etc. With that, let's move on to the AI and cybersecurity related updates. There's a new research from a company called Aligo Security that has warned that hackers are actively exploiting a disputed vulnerability in a popular open source framework for AI called as Ray. This tool is commonly used to develop and deploy large-scale Python applications, particularly for tasks like machine learning, scientific computing, and data processing. And this vulnerability has led to the exposure of thousands of servers that are deployed worldwide, and the company is calling it as shadow ray vulnerability. Now, this specific vulnerability allows attackers to take control of companies' computing power and leak sensitive data. Okay. Now, all of you have to note that in case you are interested in a particular segment that you like, you might want to search further. In interest of time, I typically give summary of what's happening. Okay. With that, let's move on to another update, which is that a new research has come out which states that 225,000 logs containing compromised OpenAI ChatGPT credentials were made available for sale on underground markets between Jan and October 2023, and these were essentially captured during various information stealers like Lumacito, Raccoon, and Redline. Okay, and they were eventually available for sale. Another interesting news. I'm sure some of you have heard of Hugging Face. Hugging Face is a community platform. It is often called as GitHub of machine learning because it lets developers share and test their work openly. So let's say I'm an AI developer. I can create my own model, put it on Hugging Face community for other developers to try it out. Okay? They are very popular. This community, Hugging Face, is very popular for their Transformers Python library. Okay. Now, a research has come to light which says that at least 100 malicious AI models have been discovered on the Hugging Face platforms, and these include instances where loading a pickle file leads to code execution. And for people who don't know, pickle is a serialization protocol that allows you to share data between parties. Essentially, it's a set of instruction or opcodes, which means it's not human readable. The opcodes are generated when pickling and read sequentially at unpickling. So based on opcode, given action can be executed, right? And then the model payload grants the attacker a shell on the compromised machine, enabling them to gain full access over the victim's machine, essentially a backdoor. So if you are using that infected model, hackers can get a backdoor to your machine. And that's the problem with using open source model, open source software, etc. Also, another company has reported issues with the Google's Gemini LLM model. They claim that it is susceptible to security threats that could cause it to divulge system prompts, generate harmful content, and carry out indirect injection attacks. Okay. So soon I'll be covering on what I have noticed in terms of use of generative AI in cybersecurity, how cyber criminals are using it, what is the research happening, etc. Now, with that, let's move on to security regulations. The Pentagon on Thursday released its first ever cybersecurity strategy draft to better protect its massive defense industrial base from attackers. Essentially, this document will act as a roadmap to cybersecurity and resiliency of their supply chain, which has hundreds of thousands of entities that contract directly with Pentagon and its various incident. Now, previously in 2009, Suspected Chinese hackers broke into one of the companies working on F-35 Joint Strike Fighter, one of the most expensive weapons in U.S. history, and they stole the design data. So I think this is a good move. All countries should definitely have measures to protect their sensitive and critical sectors. Moving specifically to critical sectors, the US EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, has said that it plans to create a new task force designed to help the water sector deal with growing number of cyber attacks from nation states like Iran and China. Earlier, the IRGC, Iranian government's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, they attacked dozens of water facilities that use Israeli-made software. And while the provision of water was never affected, the lack of cybersecurity protections caused concern about what the hackers could have done. Definitely could, stop the water supply. Nation state specific updates. So this is where either nation states are involved in incidents or they are getting targeted. Okay, so Russia is focusing on information operations. This is a new category of incidents that I'm tracking. What they have done is they have improved the quality and up the frequency of its information campaigns against Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Poland, according to latest report from Lithuanian security services. The narrative that they are playing is that since the start of its invasion of Ukraine, there is no impact of Western sanctions on Russian economy. And also they want to incite hatred against Ukraine and fuel confrontations between Western countries. They are also meant to impact people inside the respective target countries by spreading fear and panic among the population. Example, in one of the campaign, they spread false information about explosives planted at Lithuanian schools, which was timed to coincide with the state of academic year and teacher strike. Last October, Lithuanian media reported that local police received approximately 900 Russian language false warnings about explosives in schools, kindergarten, and Jewish institutions. So that's how information or misinformation is can be used to spread fear and anxiety in common people. Okay, so we have to be very careful in future. I'm tracking reports where this is getting more severe. Fake news, deep fake videos, etc. Increasing. We all know that. Okay. China. So a group, espionage group linked to China has been observed targeting government agencies, education institutions, and communication industry with 2 custom backdoors, as per a new research. This group is called Earth Krahang by researchers, and they have attacked at least 70 victims across 23 countries with the prime focus on Southeast Asia. Okay. Now, what they do is, once they attack a government agency, they use the trust between their trust with the other agency to attack them further. So they would send phishing emails using these compromised accounts. They will host this infrastructure to or they will use this infrastructure to host malicious content, route proxy attack traffic, etc. Okay. North Korea. So a UN panel has said that it's investigating 558 cyber attacks allegedly conducted by North Korean hackers that allowed hackers to make $3 billion in a 6-year span. So they are currently investigating 70 cryptocurrency hacks from 2020 through alone, with the value of stolen funds equivalent to about $750 million. So this has been happening for a few years. I've been tracking this. Lazarus group, very popular group from North Korea. They've been using Tornado Cash. Last year, I recently read reports, they're still using Tornado Cash to take out their money and to make it untraceable. Now the country's attack methodologies continue to include spear phishing, vulnerability exploits, social engineering, and watering holes. Now, nation states that are getting targeted. So, an Iranian linked hacking group claimed to have breached the computer network of sensitive Israeli nuclear installation called Shimon Peres Negev Nuclear Research Center, and they are claiming that they have access to stolen documents, thousands of documents, including PDF, email, and PowerPoint slide, etc. Also, in Switzerland, Swiss authorities have found that government documents were published or leaked following a ransomware attack that happened last year on one of its IT providers. The data published on the dark web involved 1.3 million files, with 5% of that data was connected to federal government. Okay, so again, a supply chain based attack. Lastly, on the nation state side, cyber attack on Vietnam's third largest security broker, VN Direct, has happened. The company is still struggling to fully restore its operation after this attack that happened over the weekend. And the Hanoi Stock Exchange announced that it was temporarily disconnecting remote trading and online trading of derivative securities, transactions, etc. By VN Direct until the problem is completely resolved. The stock of this company, the stock price fell by 4%, and I'm sure the transaction volumes were dropped, which means impact on the business. So this is critical. Okay, imagine one of the largest business getting impacted because of a cyber attack. So that's definitely critical. In terms of interesting vulnerabilities, so a German cyber agency called BSIS has warned that 17,000 Microsoft Exchange servers are vulnerable to critical bugs. They haven't given specific examples of who's impacted, but they said local schools, universities, medical facilities, judicial services, local governments, and other mid-sized business were definitely under threat. Now, I'm sure a lot of these patches are available, but what happens is most small businesses, they don't keep the software updated once they have deployed it. So that's a recommended practice. Okay, and also software vulnerabilities have been discovered in a company called Dorm Kaba's electronic RFID locks. These are used in hotels, and they are now weaponized by threat actors to forge key cards and stealthily slip into the locked rooms. Okay, so the incident or the issue impacts around 100 or 13,000 properties in 131 countries, and it impacts multiple models sold by this company. Although Dormakaba is estimated to have updated or replaced 36% of the impacted locks as of March 2024, and their rollout process started last year in November. Okay, but there are certain locks which are vulnerable that are in use since 1988. Also, the US CISA, the CyberSecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, has sent an update that 3 security flaws are actively getting exploited, and these belong to Ivanti Endpoint Manager, NICE software called Linear Emerge E3 series access control, as well as 40 client enterprise management server. Okay. Also, there is a new report by Google. This report was published by their threat analysis group called TAG, and it mentions that 97 zero-day vulnerabilities were present or were exploited in 2023, which is a significant rise compared to 2022, which only had 62 vulnerabilities. Okay. One of the primary reasons for these vulnerabilities was espionage. So out of 58 zero-day vulnerabilities that they analyzed, 48 were meant for espionage. Okay. Now the criminal focused on end-user platforms like smartphones, operating systems, web browsers, applications, with total of 61 zero-day affecting these targets. Okay, so that was pretty interesting. More focus on zero-day vulnerabilities by cyber criminals for espionage purpose. TTPs, so these are new things, tactics that threat actors are using. So example, threat actors have been leveraging fake websites, advertising popular video conferencing software such as Google Meet, Skype, and Zoom to deliver a variety of malware targeting both Android and Windows users since December 2023. So they would typically take the Zoom package and pack it with a rat. Example, in this case, for Android it is Pinot rat, and for Windows it is NGRAT or DC rat. So they would push this package containing a rat, and whenever the end user downloads it, they have the full control. Also, threat actors are targeting misconfigured and vulnerable servers running Apache Hadoop, Yarn, Docker, Altasian Confluence, and Redis services as a part of emerging malware campaign designed to deliver a cryptocurrency miner, spawn, reverse shell for persistent access. So make sure your software is updated. Make sure you know why they're talking to internet, okay, and what kind of traffic is coming to these exposed servers. Lastly, in Feb and March, last week of Feb and early March, there is a debate happening between large tech companies like Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, etc., about platformization. So platformization is all about providing multiple security use cases for a particular set of issues or requirements in cybersecurity. It's all about simplification and consolidation. So, example, at cyber, typically 15 to 20 use cases or different category of products are deployed to cover uh, requirements on cybersecurity. Call it defense in depth, multiple layers of security. And what companies are debating is whether platform approach is right or best of breed, which is one company which solves one use case and does it really well, or a platform which takes multiples of these use cases, put it in a single product with a single interface, single backend, maybe a single agent, depending on the use case, and which approach is better. Okay, so that was interesting. If you do a search on cybersecurity platformization, I'm sure you will come across very interesting articles. So I highly recommend you to read them. With that, thank you so much to all the listeners and all the sources who helped me learn about all this, who created this content so that I can share with all of you. With that, keep sending comments on YouTube, on my podcast, on Spotify, Apple, etc., and as well as Twitter. With that, thank you so much. I'll see you next time.